What's up, fight fans? We are heading all the way to Sydney, Australia this weekend with some absolutely outstanding matchups. Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland rematch world title main event. This is one you're not going to want to miss. And just for you, to make this fight night even better, I have teamed up with DraftKings to bring you all a great offer right now. DraftKings is giving all new customers $200 in bonus bets instantly after they place a wager for just $5. So don't wait. Download the DraftKings app. Do it right now. When you sign up, use the code SONNEN. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Stay in on the action. Use your $200 in bonus bets for same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. You can combine multiple bets together from the same fight. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy for a shot to win cash prizes. I want you to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. When you sign up, place in at least a $5 wager, use the promo code SONNEN. Get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code SONNEN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Why do we hate Ankalaev? And I must tell you, there was never a hate on Ankalaev. I mean, Ankalaev's been the talk of the town plenty of times. Ankalaev came in, saved the show, took on Blachowicz, was main event of a pay-per-view for a world championship in a fight that ended up being extremely close. Ankalaev has worked his way back to number one contender. Ankalaev has had his one bad moment in the octagon, which is 4 seconds from the third round with Paul Craig, used over and over to build other people, which, I mean, that got to be a level of annoyance. If you've only had 4 bad seconds in your entire octagon career, right? But those 4 seconds keep on getting used as your can't breathe. I'm just saying, I don't really know what Ankalaev does to upset anybody. And then the number one thing, though, because Ankalaev was the real talk. You guys remember when he took on Johnny Walker? Like, that was a big deal. And getting back, and where am I? And I'm in the desert. I mean, not for nothing. Like, there's been times where Ankalaev's name has been red hot. And lots of support. And you know what? You want to know where that turned? That turned my own partners, DraftKings, came out with a fictitious line. And they put like 10 guys against Alex Pereira. And they went all over the place. They put Tom Aspinall in this. They brought Lionheart, goes to the front of the pack. They've got all of these opponents. And on the fictitious line, Alex Pereira was the favorite to beat all of them. Guys from different weight classes, guys from different areas. Dricus du Plessis was put on this list. Except one. DraftKings, even fictitiously, on their line have Ankalaev a 2-1 favorite to beat Alex Pereira. And the more people started to think about that, and the more people started to think, I might be having to trade places. Ankalaev for my favorite fighter. Ankalaev for our biggest star. Belt goes to Dagestan, where they got plenty of them, as opposed to Glover and company continued domination at the light heavyweight division. Like, it was one of these things, and I swear to goodness, I watched it happen. I watched people get mad at Ankalaev. They really did. And the suggestion, Ankalaev is the number one contender, guys. Excuse me. Not just the number one ranked guy. He has the number one ranked guy and number one contender is a vernacular. They get it wrong in our industry all the time. You could be ranked anything and be the number one contender. Number one contender is a term exclusive to who has the current bout agreement. Whoever has their name on a contract and they get the next shot is the number one contender. Ankalaev is both. He's the top ranked guy and he's the number one contender. And generally, you try for those to happen. You try for both of those statements to be true, but I'm just sharing with you, they're not always, and they are in his case. And now we're talking about getting rid of him. But he can't draw, he can't sell, he's not a star. Well, He headlined a pay-per-view on short notice against Jan Blachowicz and has sold out T-Mobile, which happens to be the fight capital of the world. Like, I don't know that I totally agree with you with this Ankalaev as just some unrecognizable face. I'll tell you one place I do disagree. I disagree that you have a classic striker versus wrestler. I completely disagree with that. And where the misconception comes with Ankalaev is just where he lives, Brazil. He's out in Dagestan, so therefore he must be great at wrestling. Like, that's where that perception comes from. But for some reason, that doesn't follow Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira is Brazilian, which since 1993, and Hoist Gracie showed us, has always been the area that represents the ground arts, specifically that of jiu-jitsu, and that's just not true with Pereira, right? He's anything but that. It's also not true with Ankalaev. He's also a stand-up fighter. Ankalaev identifies himself as a kickboxer, by the way. So it's a very interesting match that is greatly misunderstood, but Dean Thomas isn't alone with this belief. There are many people that would rather whatever we have to do to not have that fight, all the way down to screw Ankalaev. I mean, truly, I've been in arguments where I've heard people say, wait, listen, and I'll bring that up and go, he's not just the number one contender. He's also ranked number one. What do we possibly do with him? And what do we do with Pierre? How do we have them operating at the same time, but not against each other? How are we going to explain that? Like, if we're going to pull the screw job, we got to be ready to answer the questions that the screw job is going to create. And I think that you get stuck. I don't think that you could come out with an announcement and both of those guys are busy, but not against each other. As a matter of fact, we saw that. We saw some very careful footwork to get Ankalaev busy. In that case, it was a contract against Rachik. Before we could make an announcement for Khalil versus Pierre. Like, we saw some maneuvers happen, and they didn't totally work. There'd be no way to pull that move off twice. But I've heard many people that would be okay with that move. They don't think that it's worth the risk. They don't think that getting you set Ankalaev and Pereira down. And by the time the fight's over, they could get up and switch chairs. And I know so many people in our industry, people that you would respect, that don't believe it's worth that risk. And I just think it's an interesting concept. It's a very interesting concept to avoid a fight or to take a fight as opposed to have the right guy and the biggest threat as one part of the fight. I just think it's an interesting concept. It's not generally something that goes on over here. And I can tell you the one person that doesn't agree with it, the one person that doesn't agree that Alex should fight anybody else or do anything else, is Alex. Every time Alex speaks, he's made it clear it's Ankalaev. He's made it clear, send me the contract, I will sign it, it's Ankalaev. He's made it clear, before you make a decision and put something on a contract and you send it to me, of which I will sign, make sure it says Ankalaev. This idea that Ankalaev should have an opportunity taken from him because he just might win, that's a very flawed concept, and it's no way to go through life.